For a bit of a treat, aren't we? Right the way through, as we were yesterday. But what about this singles match this afternoon between Berdych and Stan Wawrinka?
Well, excuse me, as we know, it's going to be a high-powered, hard-hitting affair. Stan's had a great year, but obviously tailed off a little bit recently. So we're looking to see. I think there were signs in the last few weeks that he's starting to hit the ball a bit better. And we've talked about maybe having a bit of weight on his shoulder after winning that Australian Open, trying to live up to that. But I think this tournament's made for the fact that you just get through one match at a time, and they can take a lot of that pressure off. The end of the year is nearly here, so they can really put all his focus into just taking care of business this week.
Yes, indeed. And Arvind, what about Tomas? Because I mean, his achievements are extraordinary. I mean, I think he's celebrating his 5th consecutive year in the top 10. Yet titles seem to elude him, certainly on the Grand Slam stage. But I think he's won a couple of titles this year. I think he made it here last year without a single title. So you don't quite know what you're going to get from Tomas. But how about him today against Stan?
Well, I mean, you know what you're going to get from Berdych, and that's going to be high octane, high power. Yeah. You know, the serve is going to be dominating with that. He's going to be looking to kind of step in on the backhand, the forehand, inside out, cross court, down, inside in as well. You know, they're his main weapons. But I think only 10 titles I think that he's had overall in his career. I think he'd be a little bit disappointed with that, but he's such a consistent performer this year. Made so many quarterfinals, semi-finals, won a couple, like you say. But when he's on in these type of conditions as well in a court like this, it's made for him. I think it's not that higher bouncing, it's around the waist height, and when it's in his strike zone, he's very tough to live with, and all the guys know when he's on form, he's tough to beat. He's very dangerous.
Yeah, Craig, I'll throw a stat at you,
yes,
probably for the only time. It's to 9-5 head-to-head in favour of Stan Wawrinka. Does that really count for anything coming into this event? Because it's so unique, this event, isn't it?
That will be a little bit in the back of their minds, but it's a fresh day, it's a fresh match, and on this court, both guys, I see 3 big keys to this match. First is first serve percentage. If they can just make the player that makes a little bit better headway in that area can really hold serve a little easier and be a little bit more aggressive on the return game. The other thing I'm going to look very closely at is stepping in and really doing something with second serves. The only time this court really bounces up is when you get spin on it. So if they can step in and hit a hard, deep ball down the middle, that will be a key today. And lastly, will be court position. Once the rally begins, the ball will be sitting off the hips, and the player that can stand up to the baseline and win that battle of court position will have a slight edge in this match.
Yeah, indeed. We can just have a look at their head-to-head record, actually, for what it's worth. I must just explain, for those of you who aren't aware of what Craig does, he does this website, The Brain Game, and it's just every single movement and shot on court for pretty much every single match is analysed to the nth degree, isn't it, Craig? So we're going to have some fascinating stuff coming from you. But here is that head-to-head then. And, well, Stan, as you said, Miles, tremendous start to the year. Just tailed off a little bit at this end of the season. Tomas, though, has been fairly consistent throughout the year?
Very consistent, and he's had a good finish to the year, picking up a title in Stockholm, made the final in Beijing. That particular match maybe one he'd choose to forget quite quickly, because he was on the verge of the double bagel, but he pulled that one back, and I think he brushed that one off quickly, and he showed some good form, playing in Paris as well. Had a real tight match with Milos Raonic, so I think he's been very consistent throughout the year. He's made this is one of his goals, as with all the players, but to really make it here, I think he'll be fired up. One thing that he has in his 5 appearances, he's lost his first match.
Yes.
All 4 times,
yeah.
So he'll be desperately looking to overturn that, because as we've seen, it can change the dynamics of the group substantially once you get that first win under your belt.
Indeed, but you can lose a match and win the tournament, in fact, can't you? As it has happened in the past. Such is the way that this event works, with a round-robin format, and then we're into the semi-finals and final. So